Well, you've nailed it on so many areas here, Jen. And you look at Cruz and the people he surrounded himself with. You're right; it's a different guy, Rick Tyler, who they finally canned. But the
Hmm.
nasty things that were said by them each and every night, not just about Donald Trump, but about people
Right.
who support Donald Trump or don't support Ted Cruz. They're
Hmm.
just going after people personally, really in a fashion we've never seen before. And as far as those with the inciting
They're
violence,
called political mercenaries. They're
yeah.
called political mercenaries that have been hired
Or
to take
hacks.
out the opposition. Yes, exactly.
On
Yes,
Twitter, hacks fits easier with 140
yes.
characters if I need to get that out there. But I have to tell you though, you touched on Donald Trump inciting violence. I watched a lot of Looney Tunes as a kid, and I watch it now with my kids. I still haven't hit anyone with a mallet, not once. And
No,
yet
absolutely.
I'm a big fan of Yosemite Sam and the whole group. So, it's just absolutely unbelievable. Again, personal responsibility, something they don't want to talk about. We've heard that from the left, but when you hear it from quote unquote conservatives, quote unquote Christians, quote unquote Republicans, that's when you really have to scratch your head. And you mentioned Neil
Hmm.
Bush, and you look at he may be the best of the bunch. He's got Glenn Beck and all these other characters who are out
Oh,
there.
the whole Glenn Beck stabbing repeatedly situation, that was a fiasco, and I could not believe, first of all, that Ted was desperate enough to drag that guy along with him
Right.
as part of his campaign, and thinking that Glenn's going to bring people to the table.
Oh.
Glenn has made a lot of enemies. All of the nasty things he said about Sarah Palin, all of it. He picks these little personal battles, and then he just viciously annihilates people, and without cause. It's like, if you don't agree with him, then you're trash to be stepped on. You're anti-American, you're unchristian, you're everything awful and ugly in the world, and you need to go away. And I fully, the repeatedly stabbing Trump thing didn't surprise me. And then when he tried to blame it, I wasn't talking about Trump, was exactly what he was talking about. Nobody was fooled, and that's why the Secret Service investigated it. So I couldn't believe that Ted Cruz did not dump him after that,
And
but
me-
he's still hanging on.
And meantime, you look at the great folks who have supported Donald Trump. You say he's not conservative. Well, he's got Katrina Pearson on his team. He's got Sarah Palin
Right.
behind him. He's got Phyllis Schlafly behind him. He's got Jan Morgan behind him now. You say he's not Christian. He's got Falwell behind him. He's got Murdoch behind him. He's got so many great pastors, although we're not electing a pastor-in-chief. We must get that out there, too. People keep confusing this for some reason. But it's politics, like you said, Jen. They're using the argument when they need to, and then they're saying the other thing when they don't. Cruz also, it's a stump speech every time he's up there, whereas Donald Trump is clearly speaking from the heart and speaking from just what he believes. And that's the greatest
Right.
thing, too, is that it's honesty, even if you agree on everything or not. Before we let you run, I want to talk to you about what we usually talk about with you, Jen, and that's the Second Amendment and our gun rights
Sure.
in this country. And let's talk to people who are putting this false narrative out there that Donald Trump is not strong on 2A, because I don't see any indication of that. His family, it's a family who are shooters, family who's hunters, a family who believe in this, and he has talked about protecting our Second Amendment from the day he jumped into this race.
Right. Well, the people who are the naysayers, they're just looking for a narrative there to throw out on Donald regarding the Second Amendment, and that goes back to Donald Trump's statements regarding assault weapons ban, in the past. But I believe Donald Trump when he says he's all in favor of the Second Amendment now, that people's rights. I think he has a better understanding of it now and how we feel about it. And the one thing I really appreciate too about Donald Trump is I think he's really listened to the people, and whether or not he agrees completely with everything that the base is saying, I think this man is going to stand up and stand for what he has put out there. I don't think anything he's done has been campaign rhetoric. I believe Donald Trump when he says that he's going to stand up for the Second Amendment. He's all about gun rights. If I'm not mistaken, he's the only candidate with a concealed handgun permit. That's what I've been told repeatedly. I don't know about Ted Cruz, but I know that Ted Cruz, I had to call his campaign back when I was supporting him when he put a picture of himself up shooting a semi-automatic pistol, and he was holding it with an improper grip. He had his thumb behind the slide. I said, oh, my gosh, you can't put somebody up there. If he's going to pose with a pistol, apparently his background is with rifles. I said, you don't put a picture of him holding a grip. And people were on his page annihilating him. Gun people were saying, oh, my God, he's going to get slide bite. Does he not know how to hold a pistol? I said, get the picture off his page, and don't put another picture up of him holding a semi-automatic handgun unless you get with me or somebody that knows how to tell him how to hold it properly. So you have to wonder, how much does this guy really know about pistols? So I'm very comfortable with Donald Trump. I don't believe he's going to say one thing and then turn around and get in office and start trying to restrict our gun rights. If he does, he would have a lot of problems from gun people and the NRA, and he knows that. So I'm comfortable with that.
Well, Jen, we appreciate your candor, and we appreciate you going for the best person for our country. And hey, listen, thanks on behalf of my little guy Rex. If people didn't see Jan's verified Facebook page lately, everyone knows Rex, who's famous for his letter that he typed with his paws to Jill Hadassah, Sarah Palin's black lab, when the left went nuts when Trig was standing on his therapy dog. And Rex sent a letter of encouragement there. And then this past week, Rex was donning his Make America Great Again cap, and Jan posted it on Facebook. He got about 7,000 hits in a few hours. And Rex thanks you, and happy Easter from Rex and everybody.
And I want to leave you with this, Kevin. Look, for anybody out there that's wondering about, I don't know about Donald Trump and the Second Amendment. Look, you got two women that are on the forefront of the Second Amendment battle, and that's Sarah Palin and Jan Morgan. And if Sarah and Jan are saying, okay, we trust this guy, we think he's okay on the Second Amendment, Donald Trump knows that his worst nightmare would be Jan Morgan and Sarah Palin nipping at his heels about 2A stuff if he started slipping up. So we're gonna stay on that and hold him accountable for his 2A position.
Well, we're debunking the nonsense week after week. Last week we had Victoria Price talking about Donald Trump on his pro-life stance. This week Jan Morgan on his pro-2A stance. And we're going to do this with race. We're going to do this with women. We're going to do this with every single topic. And people who care to listen and actually do the research and believe in common sense and believe in making America great again will be on board. Jan Morgan, you're the best.
Thanks. And, hey, it's on his website. You can go to Trump's website. He's written it out. He's put everything in writing on 2A stuff. That he's not going to go back and reverse any of that. So it's in writing. We're going to hold him to it.
For more on the wonderful Jan Morgan, please visit janmorganmedia.com and check out Jan Morgan's verified Facebook page. This past week had a scary, scary start. Our great friend Todd Palin was seriously injured in a snow machine wreck. The former first gentleman of Alaska was hospitalized in the ICU. His wife, Governor Palin, had to head back from Florida, where she was campaigning for Donald Trump, to Alaska. It was a frightening time for all. The great news, though, by the grace of God, Todd is expected to recover. It'll be a long process, but the amazing American husband and father will get there. All of us at Mama Grizzly Radio want to thank those who lifted Todd and the Palins up in prayer during this ordeal, and please continue to pray for him as he recuperates in Alaska. Sarah Palin posted much on social media following Todd's crash, including, "Todd is our rock, toughest guy I know. Thank you for your prayers as he recovers following a snow machine accident last night. Your prayers have meant so much to our family over the years, and I've not thanked you enough for providing us that shield of faith. God bless you, too." As any adventurous Alaskan knows, while you may be down, you're never out. I remember Chris Kyle summed up Todd best. He's Rambo, straight up Rambo. On the cross-country flights, taking me back home now, I'm thinking of all of you and sincerely appreciating your support. It was an honor to be with so many patriotic Floridians the past 2 days. You remind me that when life happens and we face challenges as individuals and a nation, it's the strength and unity and a strong faith that let us overcome. Stay strong. Love, the Palins. Later in the week, the governor wrote, Todd Palin is in intensive care at an Alaskan hospital with injuries including multiple broken and fractured ribs, broken shoulder blade, broken clavicle, knee, leg injuries, and a collapsed lung. He's presently back in surgery to repair multiple fractures. Thank you for your prayers for a speedy recovery. We, as his wife and children, appreciate your respect for our privacy during this time. Knowing Todd, once he's cognizant, he'll probably ask docs to duct tape him up, and he'll call it good. He's tough. And then more detail from Sarah Palin on St. Patrick's Day. She wrote, "A good laugh and a long sleep are the two best cures for anything." Irish proverb. Thank you for lifting Todd up in prayer. He's still in ICU under care of a superbly skilled staff. A long surgery repaired numerous breaks in Todd's upper body. Docs essentially lifted and secured every rib with steel bands, anchored the broken clavicle with plates and rods, set aside repair of a broken shoulder for later. Also later are more minor things like ACL, MCL, knee injuries. Still mechanically inflating one collapsed lung, while other bruised lung, liver, etc. are watched. Chest strain is working overtime to keep things clear. requiring a bit more than our usual fix-all up here duct tape, some gnarly incisions to enter his innards will be reminders of how life can change in the blink of an eye, and skating through TSA detectors with bionic parts will now be anything but the blink of an eye. So thankful for today's medical technology, including 3D x-rays, temporary pain blocks, and epidurals. I'm voting for their continued use until a resting position is found that allows minimal wincing with each breath. We say Matsu Regional Hospital is the best place to start life. All our babies are Matsu born, and these ER and ICU days show our local medical experts are most outstanding at continuing life, too, by the grace of God. It's all good, though, and I hope whatever challenges you face today, physical, emotional, financial, you'll have confidence in the care around you, and you'll apply Todd's consistent advice. Don't sweat the small stuff. Your care for Todd is more appreciated than I can express. Thank you, and thank you to the still mysterious snow machiners who came upon the wreck and provided critical help that night. I hope to meet you soon. Sarah. Again, Todd, we're happy to have you with us, and we appreciate all you do. Get well as soon as possible from everyone here at Mama Grizzly Radio. This past week, a big birthday for Piper Palin, the Palin's youngest daughter, celebrating in Alaska, and her mom posted on Facebook, quote, happy birthday, Piper Indy Grace Palin. We love you more than life itself. Thank you for the joy you bring to our home. You really are the best. God blessed you with this gorgeous, fresh snow today. All for you, unquote. And yes, it was snowing in Alaska. Snow in a lot of the country in the late fall and early spring. Happy birthday, Piper, from Mama Grizzly Radio. To see any of the governor's posts in their entirety, visit Sarah Palin's Facebook page. You can follow her on Twitter at Sarah Palin USA, and be sure to check out sarahpack.com.